Ella, I have loved your music for years. I feel like the first time I met you was maybe like 2014, interviewing you for Disney Channel.
Crazy, over 10 years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago, and I've watched your career grow. But I think what we want to talk about today is how that's happened. Like, take me right back. What did you want to be when you were little?
I wanted to be a vet.
Really?
Yeah, I'm big. I love animals. I've got a couple of animals, and I love creating my little farm as I've gotten older. But yeah, I really wanted to help animals and save lives. But then I realized you have to be incredibly intelligent for that. And I think my heart is a little bit too soft for animals. Just, you know, it's just some things I don't want to see.
You just want to cuddle them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yeah. And I love writing songs, and I think that came about really naturally for me without even realizing that that could be a job. And so like I only realized later on in life. I'm sure you're going to ask me about that next.
Yeah, I was going to say, when did that happen? When did you realize you could write a banger? When did you realize that you had the pipes on you as well to sing?
I mean, I loved going to church and singing. That was kind of my stage. Even though I didn't necessarily know what I was singing about, I just loved singing the songs and feeling the emotion that music really like naturally brings to you. And so I think that I learned at a young age that I loved performing, but I didn't really take it seriously till I was about 16.
And how did you begin performing? What was the break? What was the first moment you realized you could stand on a stage? And how does it even happen? How do you get there?
I mean, it was moments like this at school. Like, one of my favorite things that I loved was drama at school. I played Tallulah in Bugsy Malone, and I would say that that was probably the first moment where I was like, oh, wow, I'm actually pretty good at this.
Yeah, that's it. My name is Tallulah.
Yeah, exactly. And she was very me, very sassy. Yeah, it was perfect. And I think that was the first time I realized that, you know, I loved performing, but also it made me realize I wanted to write my own words and I wanted to sing my own songs as opposed to performing in acting and theatre.
Yeah, when we were talking just before you came on, we were saying all the different jobs there are in music that aren't necessarily performing, and someone said songwriting, and you can write for other people as well.
Exactly.
I mean, what do you get out of songwriting, even if you know you're not going to sing that song yourself?
To be honest, the process is just as beautiful as the end result, you know, particularly because for me, I write from the heart. I write about experiences that I've had in my life or feelings that I've felt. And so it's a very therapeutic thing to do. And sometimes, you know, like we write in diaries, we write our feelings down, and to be able to, you know, put words together and put a melody to it and for it to be emotive, I think is a really beautiful thing. And it's very cathartic, very cathartic.
It's good for you. Sometimes when your mind feels scrambled.
Yes.
Once you get those words on the page, they feel a little less insurmountable.
Yeah.
You can make sense of them.
Absolutely, yeah. And to be able to do that with music is just, because even just listening to music is very powerful. So to be able to put your feelings down on paper and then to have people listen back to them and be inspired by those too and to feel something from those too, that's just a feeling that I will never get over.
I know that the music industry and the creative industries in general aren't always easy. What are some of the challenges that you've faced?
I'd say that there's a lot of opinions flying around. Everybody thinks that they know what they're doing, and actually, plot twist, no one knows what they're doing.
No one knows.
Yeah, we're all just guessing, and I think that's the beautiful thing is that, you know, as time goes on, the music industry has changed so much in the time that I've even been doing it. I've been doing it over 10 years now, and it's, you know, Spotify didn't exist when I was started. So I think one of the biggest challenges is like, keeping with the times and keeping up with, you know, what's happening and how you guys are, you know, taking in music and discovering artists and trying to keep up with it, really. But ultimately, I think the most important thing for me and the biggest challenge sometimes is to just stick true to yourself, because there's so many people that will have an opinion or, you know, something that they think that you should be doing differently. And actually, it's really important to remember exactly who you are and how to maintain that.
Yeah. It's really interesting, actually, that you mention the way the music industry has changed, because the jobs that we're saying there are today could be different tomorrow.
Yeah.
My partner's filming a music video today, but back in the day, it would be a very different type of production than it is now, and very much it's about content creation now. So he's got to think about making sure that everything fits on a phone and that when people view it, they're going to view it in that format. It's a different format. So you've got content creators who are actually better at working with phones, which I'm sure all of you have no problem with at all. So times have changed and there are more jobs because of it. So it's so important to think about what skills you might have, even from your day-to-day lives, as well as what you do at school. When you were at school, what subjects did you like? What have you found has sort of helped you?
Well, I loved drama, and I think that was definitely the thing that got me into performing, full stop. But I loved art, anything creative, anything that didn't require me to remember anything is what I was good at, and I enjoyed. But I did also randomly enjoy biology, so maybe I could have been a vet. I just didn't look into it too much.
When did you decide you wanted music to be your career, your job?
Oh, that's a really good question. I feel like I was probably quite soon after I did Tallulah and Bugsy Malone, and I was probably about 16 years old. And then at that point, I auditioned to go to the Brit School in Croydon. And that was a very different type of school to the one that I'd been to before. The school I'd been to before was very academic. It was actually quite sporty as well. And this school was very performance-led. And when I went there for my audition, I realized that that was something, I was definitely going to be in a creative world because I just thrived. I was surrounded by so many like-minded people that loved music or loved being creative. And actually, there's loads of people that are on my team now that I met at school. So my lighting designer, I met at school. And now he does Travis Scott, and he's actually way too busy for me, but still one of my good friends.
And Travis Scott's got great lights.
Yeah, he's got amazing lights.
Set.
Yeah, exactly. And he, you know, I met him in Croydon 10, 15 years ago, and now he's traveling the world doing the lights for one of the biggest pop stars in the world. So, and then my drummer I met at school as well. So, like, it's amazing when you go to a school where there's lots of people that have similar dreams to you, how you can imagine your dreams coming to life a lot easier.
So if you're sitting here and you're thinking, actually, the subject I love is art, like there are so many careers in music and performance that you'd be amazing at, whether it's set design, lighting design, it takes that artistic mind. Equally, we were just talking the other day as part of Mastercard mic drops about things like music law and management. You have a manager, you'll have a tour manager. What sort of skills do they have to be able to work with you?
Organization, because that's one thing I don't have. So anyone who's organized, who can, you know, keep track of timings and diary entries, and on top of that, you know, reading contracts and understanding how the business works. You know, like the business sense of it is so complicated, and I think it's really tough to be able to understand the business and be creative and write songs and perform and to be thinking about everything. So there's really are so many jobs in the music industry and in the creative world for anybody, really.
Yeah, if you're business-minded, if you're mathematical, if you're geographical, talking to a tour manager about it's just fitting together these tours. If you love going to gigs and concerts, think about how the artists, the bands have to plan where they're going to go, where's next, what makes sense to get around the world and see as many fans as possible.
Totally.
Did you ever have a backup plan?
I actually didn't. I didn't, and that's probably the worst advice I could probably give anybody, because I'm still thinking about probably needing a backup plan at some point. But I think also I've always had lots of different interests. You know, like I love writing music and performing music, but I don't have to perform music for the rest of my life. I could write songs for other people, as you said. I also love photography, and as I've gotten older and got different cameras and understood that differently, I definitely could see myself going in that direction in terms of maybe like organizing shoots or parties or events. So yeah, I'd say my backup plan would definitely still be within the creative realm. But like I said, there's just so many options. There really is.
Music photography, again, another like phenomenal job that takes you to amazing places, helps you meet amazing people, as well as people skills, which is so, so important. There's a word that I don't love, networking, that you do hear a lot of in this industry, but it's basically just being nice to people, getting to know as many people as possible, because you never know who is going to be able to give you the next opportunity or what they might be working on next. What other qualities and characteristics do you think are important for people who are interested in those behind-the-scenes roles?
Oh, I think it's about understanding how the artist's job works and the experiences that they have to go through on a daily basis. Because I feel like, particularly when you're trying to be part of somebody's team, it's really important for you to be a team player. And it's really important for you to understand that person, especially because I think when you're in the limelight and you're as big as Harry Styles, for example, you know, he can't get on the tube without getting lots of attention. And I think it's about being sensitive and being able to read a room and being able to understand people. And being nice to people is very important.
Yeah, it really is. I don't think you can underestimate that at all.
Yeah.
So for anyone sitting in here who dreams of being a performer, what advice would you give?
I would say, for me, it would be to hone your craft and find out exactly what makes you tick. And, you know, what music you love and can't get enough of, and try and expand that, you know, find out who wrote those songs, find out who, you know, shot the video, and like really understand your craft and the genre of music that you want to go into, because knowledge is power in any industry, but knowledge really is power, particularly in this industry, because you might find yourself in a room one day with the director of that favorite video that you shot, and that's your shot to go and speak to them. So it's really important to like know exactly who it is, and who makes the stuff that you love the most, and study that.
And that word love, like, it is the biggest part of it. I'm a broadcaster. I work for Radio 1 and interview people like Ella, and it's brilliant, and I love it because I love music so much. I'm so excited to get to speak to these people, and just never forgetting why you're doing it, why it matters to you, why you're passionate about it, and that will always drive you. You're always going to be good at your job if you enjoy it.
Yes.
You know, so hold on to that.
Yeah.
And just lastly, for anyone who's a little nervous about pursuing their dreams, because it's daunting, what advice would you give?
I mean, same thing really, to just research. You know, like I said, more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to go into any role. And you just need to be confident in yourself that you know what you're talking about. And the more research you do, the more you know. And you might end up knowing more than the person that's interviewing you. So it's always good to understand exactly where it is and what it is that you want.
Yeah. There's so much information out there as well now, especially with social media. We have access to, we understand how artists day-to-day work in a way that used to be quite mysterious before. And now it's really laid out bare. We understand about record labels and deals because they talk about it, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, when I first started, it's definitely a bit more of a taboo back in the day, but nowadays we have access to the internet. You know, everything is within your reach, and there are lots of people out there that can help you as well. And so, like, there's nothing to be afraid of, and I would just say be as creative as possible. Don't necessarily just look at what you see online and try and copy that. Try and create something yourself, because that's what sets you apart.
Yeah, the best stuff hasn't been done yet. It's still there to do. You're going to do it. Thank you so much, Ella. I think we're going to pass some microphones around, so if anyone has any questions, we would love to hear from you.
So what advice would you give yourself on being successful, your younger self, on being successful in the music industry?
Ooh. I think my advice would be to really, like I said before, really understand what it is that I love and what I get enjoyed. Because I started music when I was 16. I got signed when I was 16, and I would say that's incredibly young because I was still developing my taste and the things that I liked. And I'd say it's quite challenging at that age as well, because I got signed to a record label full of people that already have been doing this business for a very long time. So it's very easy to fall into the habit of listening to people and like doing something, compromising on something that you think, you know, might make you more successful because somebody else has told you to do so. But actually, you know best, you know, like ultimately they're investing in you and they're excited about what you have to offer. And so it's about, for me, I think it's retaining that and understanding that and not letting anybody deter you from that. I think that's what makes you successful.
What's one thing that you wish you knew before entering the music industry?
Wow. I wish I knew that social media was going to exist in 10 years' time, because when we started, it didn't. And like I said, you know, the music industry has changed so much with Spotify and with social media, and it's about keeping up with the times. And I think I wish I knew that so much would change so quickly that I was able to be ahead of it. I want to be a lot more ahead of things in the future.
You've got to keep a very open mind, because you never know what direction things are going to take.
Yeah, that's so true.
What inspired you to pursue a career in the music industry?
I think I was lucky enough to find something that I was good at a young age, and something that people responded to as well. Like I said, I used to sing in church, and people would always come and sit closer to me, and so that they could hear me sing. And so I guess it really boosted my confidence with my ability, and then it made me want to learn more and to, you know, have a singing teacher and to go to a school that was specialist. And I think the best thing about being at school is that you don't have to work, so that you've got all the time to enjoy all the things that school have to offer, so that you can understand what it is that you're great at and what excites you, and to really use this time to learn about that skill until you have to get a job.
Never stop learning. I heard that Chris Martin, after it was like 4 albums deep into Coldplay, he decided to take singing lessons because he was like,
Really?
I need to improve further if I'm
Yeah.
going to keep growing this.
Yeah.
And I'm Chris Martin, I'm in Coldplay, I'm
Yeah.
the biggest band in the world. And yet, let's just keep learning.
Yeah.
So never stop learning, always stay curious.
Yes, so true.
Because we're living in like a really rapid-paced world right now,
Yeah.
and like so efficiency is key. So how do you know when you're developing a song idea, like if it's any good, and like when you should just like put it at rest and just leave it for later, just focus on what you think?
That's a fantastic question. I would say that there's no formula for that. I would say that it's a feeling. And sometimes I've written songs that I've hated, and then somebody else has listened to it and been like, this is a really good song. And it takes the feedback and taking out of the room to be able to recognize that. Because I think when you're writing a song, sometimes the conditions are very different to others. And so I work with lots of people that I really love and, bring out the best in me. And sometimes we're too comfortable. Sometimes we're just enjoying ourselves too much and we think it's great and then it's not. And then sometimes I'm in a more pressured environment and I think, oh, I didn't enjoy writing that song that much. But then when I listen back to it, it brought out a completely different side of me. So I would just say trust the process. And I think the moment to let a song rest is when you feel like you're going crazy, because then you're not going to be productive. Give it a rest and then come back to it, because you never know how that's going to grow and how it's going to affect you later on as well.
Thank you.
It's so interesting that, you can come back to something and it sounds completely different.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes in life you'll read a book and you're just like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
50 pages in, I can't do this. But then you come back to it years later and something's happened to you, you've
Yes.
changed, you've experienced something and it just hits.
Yeah.
Like things feel different.
It's so true. Yeah, the emotion that it pulls out of you can be different depending on what you're going through, or just on feedback. Not saying that you should always listen to feedback, but it's definitely helpful, constructive.
No, that's a really good point, is having people around you and allowing them to listen, take on their notes like you would with your teachers, and you can take or leave what you think is important, but it's good to listen to others as well.
Yeah.
You've been waiting with your mic.
How has what you do helped you as a person?
I think it's made me realize what a difference it makes. I think sometimes when I'm writing songs and performing and being nervous about performing, I can often feel like I'm not changing too much. But actually, when somebody comes up to me and says, oh my God, thank you so much for writing this song. It got me through my breakup, or, I was having a really hard time and this song really helped me through this period in my life. That is when it makes me realize that I've affected somebody in a positive way. And it makes me realize as well that there are artists out there that have done the same for me. I remember I went to the Brit School, as I said earlier, and one of the things we get to do is go to the Brit Awards. And I remember the moment where I realized I wanted to be a recording artist, and it was when Adele was singing Someone Like You. And I remember looking to my left and right, recording on my old Nokia phone. You probably guys don't even know what that is. And recording the Adele singing, and all my friends were crying around me, and I just thought, wow, that is so powerful that she has drawn that emotion up from all these people that don't know her personally, and she's written a song that has made people really react in this way. And that, for me, is the most powerful thing about being an artist, when you're able to help people emotionally, or just, be there for them and say something that you feel like you needed to say yourself. So, yeah.
How many people in this room have a song that they can turn to and they know it's going to make them feel something, whether it's you're going to cry or you're going to feel better if you're feeling down?
Yeah, everyone's got their hands in the air, exactly.
Question over here.
Is singing something you would do like for the rest of your life, or something you could do as long as you could?
I would definitely do it as long as I could, but I would be doing it for the rest of my life anyway, because I don't just sing for you guys, I don't just sing for anyone listening, I sing for myself. It's something that I really enjoy doing. I do it in the shower, I do it when I'm cleaning, when I'm in the house, when I'm walking the dog. So I would definitely be doing it for the rest of my life, but I would definitely do it for as long as you guys want to listen as well.
A little piece of advice from I guess it's from a broadcasting, presenting perspective, but it's probably applicable, is that even when you have your job, also have your hobbies.
Yes.
Because, whether you like traveling or whether you love animals or whatever it is that you love to do, because that's where you're going to draw experience from. And you can do that for the rest of your life, whether it's for work and for money or not. And that's what keeps you giving. But I'm afraid that is all we've got time for. I would like another massive round of applause for Ella Eyre, because she's so brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for singing for us first and foremost, but also for all your advice and for being so open and sharing so much that I know is going to be so, so helpful.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing also.
And remember, whether you want to perform, whether you want to stage design, whether you want to take photographs or manage or create or songwrite, there is always a way to follow your passion. So just stay curious, stay passionate, keep loving what you do, loving music. And I know that one day you'll be here in our place, inspiring the next generation. So give it up for yourselves as well.